this won't be the last pandemic. There is going to be a new one. It doesn't matter if it's in 20 years, 30 years, 40 years.
This year has been life-changing, and I don't think anyone will forget it.
Lockdown has been one of the most crazy and strange times of my entire life.
Well, we knew we were going to do a participatory action project, so we had conversations about how we would recruit young people. But because we were bringing young people together from across different areas, we needed to be quite pragmatic in how we did it, because there were issues around how young people can travel independently, around safeguarding, etc.
Some of the young people who we'd actually met with in Euphoria had already we'd already talked to them about kind of the focus and using Make Your Mark.
When we'd been working on Output 1, we'd formed a relationship with Wigan, Bury and Rochdale, and the students had gone to take part in sessions in those three areas. So those are the groups we then approached to work with us on Output 2.
So we wanted to honour some of those initial conversations, but also recognise that we couldn't ignore the pandemic really, and we couldn't maybe carry on with the original plan.
And we went to a few euphorias to start the conversations and start developing those relationships. But obviously the pandemic struck and the work stopped.
Hello, today I'm going to give you a COVID-19 yearly rundown. Starting off this year, COVID cases began rolling in by the day, and eventually in the UK, lockdown 1 began.
Lockdown, social distancing, Tier 4, masks. So many new words sprung at us in a matter of months.
As soon as we had got out of the airport, my dad, who was waiting for us, made us all put hand gel on. This is like gold at the moment, he said.
Lockdown 1 lasted for 6 months and included schools being shut, shops being closed, jobs being lost, and every day for 6 months Boris Johnson giving a daily COVID briefing.
Lockdown also took away communication. Everyone was trying to stay in touch, but it's hard to when you can't even leave your house.
Then in October, a new tier system was announced, which caused a huge financial situation for places such as Greater Manchester. Then in November, Boris Johnson announced a new lockdown, Lockdown 2, which only lasted 4 weeks, but included non-essential shops and jobs being lost. However, schools were not closed, but were being sent home a lot. Now, a COVID vaccine was announced and has been rolled out. However, over the Christmas period, a new Tier 4 was announced, which basically meant to stay indoors and don't go anywhere. Now, everyone in the UK, or nearly everyone in the UK, is in this new Tier 4 and we're all stuck inside. That's really the year that we have had here in the UK.
Slow down, can you see your hand? Yeah, smile. That's better.
I never thought I would have to wear a mask just to go to the shops, and I never thought a virus could take over the world. 2020 has been the craziest year, and being in lockdown has taught me so much, and I believe it has made me grow to become a better individual.
It was very strange. I had to adapt in so many different ways, especially with school.
Having to homeschool myself for over 6 months has changed my life, and I'll be honest, I struggled at times. Having to do all your work at home and additional homework can sometimes take over your days.
During COVID, I've had to work from home surrounded by complete silence. I tried listening to podcasts and audiobooks, but they were too distracting.
My parents took us shopping to stock up on things we might need. Make sure you buy enough toilet paper. Did the virus cause some sort of uncontrollable diarrhea?
So I thought I'd listen to music, and that totally wasn't distracting at all.
So imagine me in March after all this, hearing that GCSEs have been cancelled. It was a horrible experience.
One challenge I know everyone faced was how to keep busy. Lockdown confined us to our houses and boredom kicked in. Despite this, I managed to keep busy by trying new and fun things and by improving on my skills and ambitions.
My parents tidied up the garden and redid a room in the loft so that me and my brother could have somewhere to walk and play.
Although lockdown stripped me of so many things, it also gave time to me. Time to adapt, time to learn, time to change, and time to grow, physically and emotionally.
I liked that I could organise my time and just get on with my work without other distractions. I liked that I didn't have to go outside and didn't have to wear my uniform.
During lockdown, through Youth Cabinet, I learnt Spanish and sign language. I did this because I wanted to learn some new skills, and it was a creative thing to do to bring some positivity out of lockdown.
During the first lockdown, the government cancelled GCSEs, which left me a lot of spare time on my hands, so I started looking for a hobby. I chose gardening. It's been fantastic for mental well-being, and I definitely recommend it.
As a young person, quarantine and COVID has affected me in the sense that there's a lot of uncertainty. Like, the government doesn't appear to know what's going on, my school doesn't appear to know what's going on, and that uncertainty progresses into anxiety, where I don't know, like a few years ago I had plans and those plans have kind of been disrupted. So it's kind of like, where do you go from here? Do you start your building blocks on an unsturdy foundation, or do you wait and then be unprepared?
I feel like school, for me personally, has been the main thing. Like, I don't think a year ago I never thought I'd be able to homeschool myself for this long. You know, with the cancelling of exams and having to do all the work from home and everything like that, I feel like it's been a lot. And some young people have, struggled with it. Some have found it okay. And then just seeing also part of school is seeing your friends as well, being with the people around you, just having a class around you. I feel like that environment, people are missing it, and lockdown, for being in lockdown, in and out, has really disrupted our routines, and I feel like people are finding it hard to get back into routines. the worst thing that happened during the pandemic? Well, personally, I'll say the cancelling out the GCSEs. That's because I was one of the students in 2020 that had to do the GCSEs and they've been cancelled, and I just felt like all the work that I've been doing it was a wasted time, if that makes sense. It's because obviously we all worked really, really hard during the last 2 years, and then suddenly all our GCSEs have been cancelled. So it was something that really surprised me and then really shocked me at the same time.
I think it's exposed a lot of issues with cuts and funding, which has become more prevalent in the past decade, really. And Bill Gates did a speech on a TED Talk, and he mentioned that a pandemic would happen and that it's going to happen sooner than we think, and that worldwide governments need to address it and prepare for it. Everybody ignored him, and obviously it's happened, and we've had no infrastructure for it, we've had no preparation for it, and I think that's the biggest thing that needs to change in the future.
I think teachers especially have learned that students cannot handle just work, shut down, work. Like school, we had breaks and stuff like that, but I think definitely the government has learned, teachers have learned, and even adults have learned there's been this pressure, especially on people in secondary school that are about to leave. There's been this pressure and realization that all their preparation might have gone down the drain, and that is not been acknowledged, and now it is being, because I remember people feeling stressed out and like this really big feeling of anxiety because they didn't know what was going on, and I don't think anybody realized that until after they left school. So these upcoming year 11s, I think they have a bigger opportunity to get the most out of what's happening in this quarantine, because people have learned from last year.
It's been really interesting because I think I was quite intimidated by working online because I'm so used to working with people face to face, and you miss that because you can't read the room in the same way. And I think when you're working with young people, you need to be able to read the room. However, I think that, after a few sessions that felt quite difficult, and you're not sure whether you're just talking at young people and then they're wishing you'd just go away. Something happened, and actually it was about building relationships, and somehow we managed to build relationships with young people even online.
But I think that the project's stronger as a consequence to that, because the kind of collaboration that we've had to do, and the sort of very hard listening that we've had to undertake to be able to overcome those barriers,